Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Copper Jacket TV. So I just made a video a couple days ago talking about all of the new gun control laws that just took effect on July 1st, 2024 in the state of California. If you guys are interested in that video, you can check out the channel or I'll put a link to it down below. Now, one of those new laws that just took effect on July 1st was the new 11% excise tax, which is essentially a tax on top of a tax on top of a tax on top of fees, and it makes really practicing your Second Amendment rights in that state even more unaffordable. As a matter of fact, it even prices some people out completely. Not only does it have an effect, or will it have an effect on the consumer, but it's also going to have an effect on the people who it is targeted against, and that's going to be the shops, the vendors, the owners, people like that, right? Who are going to see the biggest hit from this. So again, this is a huge deal in that state, and we need to make sure that we stop it, because if you don't, I guarantee you're going to see other states try to implement something similar. Well, just one day after that new law took effect, we now have a lawsuit challenging that 11% tax, and it is from some of the heaviest hitters in the industry, like the CRPA. If you guys live in California, you're not a member of the CRPA, I absolutely suggest you become a member. They're doing some great stuff over there. The 2AF, the FPC, they have all teamed up to take on this one. So we're going to talk about what this lawsuit looks like, because I wasn't sure if they were going to challenge it on Second Amendment grounds or what. But we're going to take a look at the lawsuit and see if it has really any chance of actually working out. So let's go ahead and get to it. Now, real quick before we get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to the main sponsor of this channel, which is Attorneys on Retainer. If you carry to defend yourself or your loved ones, you need Attorneys on Retainer. There'll be a link down in the description box. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about what's going on here. Now, I'm sure there's some of you who are wondering, why did it take so long to get this lawsuit out? I mean, this is a law that was passed quite a while ago, and we have just been waiting for it to take effect. Why did they wait till after? Well, that's because in order to have standing, there has to be some type of injury, right? So the law had to take effect first, somebody had to be impositioned by it, and then after that, they could file a lawsuit on that person's claims. So there had to be an instance where somebody was exposed to this new law before they could actually file this lawsuit, and that's why they had to wait until the day after the law took effect. Now, for anybody that's interested in looking this stuff up, you can find plenty of information over on the CRPA's page or the FPC's page. The case is Jaymes v. Maduro. Maduro is the director of the Tax and Fee Administration in the state of California. Now, interestingly enough, they actually are going after this on Second Amendment grounds, because obviously when you tax a right, it implicates that right. And this definitely directly implicates the Second Amendment. I mean, let's just take a look at the complaint. Okay, so here's a look at the actual complaint filed in court. So if we go to the introduction, we go to paragraph 2, it says California's 11% excise tax is unconstitutional under the Supreme Court's decision in the NYSRPA v. Bruin, because it implicates conduct protected by the Second Amendment's plain text and is not part of this nation's history of gun regulations. Defendants will be unable to present widespread, relevantly similar analogs from the founding era to support the tax. Additionally, the United States Supreme Court has repeatedly held that constitutional rights cannot be singled out for special taxation. It lists several cases that back that up, and then it says the excise tax plainly singles out Second Amendment rights for disfavored treatment, because the Second Amendment is not a second-class right subject to an entirely different body of rules than other Bill of Rights guarantees. And then it cites Bruin. These precedents apply with equal force to California's excise tax. Now, paragraph 4 is pretty powerful. It says, as the Supreme Court famously cautioned, a right to tax without limit or control is especially a power to destroy. Here, California effectively seeks the power to destroy the exercise of a constitutional right by singling it out for special taxation. If this tax is permitted, then there's nothing to stop California from imposing a 50% or even 100% tax on a constitutional right it disfavors, whether it be the right to keep and bear arms, the right to free exercise of religion, or any other right. Moreover, calling upon the courts to decide how much tax is too much would be a completely arbitrary exercise. The only rule that accords with precedent and common sense is the constitutional rights cannot be singled out for special taxation. Now, basically what they're pointing out there is something that we've already known, which is that this is a disfavored right in the state of California, and this is a way to punish those people who would like to participate in that right. As a matter of fact, it does more than that. It absolutely prices some people out. There's people who are low income that might need one of these tools, and guess what? That extra 11% tax basically puts it out of reach for them. Because right now you already have an 11% tax, then you have sales tax, you have all sorts of different fees and stuff, and now you're adding another 11% on top of that. It just becomes unaffordable for some people, and so you have an entire segment of the population who are not going to be able to partake in one of their constitutionally protected rights. And so yes, the Constitution, our Bill of Rights, is absolutely implicated by the installment of this new tax. And so that's what they're going after here on Second Amendment grounds. And obviously, since the Second Amendment is implicated, the state is going to have to look for some type of historical analog. They're going to have to go back to the time of the founding or the ratification of the Second Amendment in 1791. They're going to have to find some type of relevant, not identical or exactly the same, but some type of similar, relevant historical analog to say that, hey, look, as a nation, this is something that we've been doing since 1791. And they're not going to be able to do that. Therefore, this law can't stand as it is today, and that is because the Supreme Court has pointed that out in Bruin, and then recently in Rahimi, they actually upheld that stance. So, again, this is something that I think should be a slam dunk, but we all know California, right? I mean, everybody out there right now knows exactly what's going to happen. This is going to go to court. It's in Southern District of Southern Superior Court of San Diego. And then what California is going to do is, if we win here, they're going to appeal it. It'll probably go to state court. And, the appeals process will keep going. And it'll be a while before we get any relief. Hopefully, we can get an injunction. I think that would be key here. If we could get an injunction and basically halt enforcement of it while this, court case goes through all of its proceedings, then that would stop the 11% tax from being implemented, and nobody would have to go through any of that BS while the case, goes on through its existence. So hopefully we can get an injunction, maybe even a summary judgment, which would be nice. But regardless, it's still going to go through the court system, and because California is the way that it is, it's going to take a really friggin' long time. So regardless, it's nice to know that a lawsuit has been filed. It's nice to know that it's got some huge names behind it, some, like I said before, some heavy hitters, and hopefully we'll see some progress out of this because, again, it implicates the Constitution, it is completely unconstitutional, and it should not exist. And we need to stop it before it spreads to other states as well that decide, hey, I'd like 11% of your extra money that we could put towards other programs that also do the same thing as that 11% tax, which is disarm people. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.